Start from when you're a baby.
Were you born in an airplane?
Yes. Did you?
I pilot.
What?
What you? You a pilot?
I pilot.
I pilot.
Cool. Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Fernando Sequera. Said it right?
Almost. Fernando Sequera.
Sequera.
Yep.
Is it really?
Yeah, there's no G. It's a Q.
Oh.
But yeah, first day I came.
First day you came, you walked in here?
I already knew I wanted to be a pilot.
Yeah.
But I had just moved here. I went to a wedding where I met my girlfriend, but we had actually gone to high school 8 years before that, but we were acquaintances, weren't really friends. So we re-linked at a wedding and then, started talking. A month later, I moved in to her house. So I was living in Miami at the time, and then I came over here. And I was like, all right, I moved here. I got to find a job.
Wait, so why'd you come here?
Well, I had decided that I wanted to do aviation. So I was actually taking the test to go into the Navy because one of my friends is in the Navy and all that. And I know from what I've been told, that they fly more than like Air Force and Army, or they have more like a bigger fleet. So then I met her and she's like, well, I'm not moving 3 years here, 3 years there. I was like, well, civilian route it is. So then moved in with her, started looking for flight schools, looking for jobs. And then I came in and I see Ryan. I'm like, hey, you guys need someone to like maybe clean your planes? And he's like, are you an instructor? Do you have your pilot's license? I was like looking to get it, but
I'm just trying to clean a plane.
I'd like to clean your planes for now, trying to get in somehow.
Yeah.
We didn't really have an opening for a plane washer.
No.
You already had one?
We had one already. Yeah.
Mitch was
yeah.
Mitchell was a
no, I don't even think Mitchell. I had somebody from Signature doing it.
Oh, okay.
At the time, and then Mitchell fell into it after you had already started flying. So where are you from?
Fernando was like, "Oh, you lucky. You're so lucky."
Born in Venezuela, raised in Miami.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
So Miami, Florida, all my life.
When did you move to Miami? How old were you?
3 years old.
3 years old. Okay, so
bought myself a plane ticket at 3 years old. Came over.
That's crazy.
And that's where I learned to speak English.
I speak English.
That's even younger than Cole was.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did. For school, I went to Florida State.
Wait, did you actually learn to speak English in Miami?
I didn't have to learn it. So going to school at a young age,
Gotcha.
you just naturally learn English from school.
But at home,
I guess
your
3 years
parents
old,
Spanish only.
Yeah. Okay.
That's kind of what I'm asking.
Because me and my sister, we talk English all the time since we were little. And my parents were always like, nope, Spanish. Because they couldn't understand this as well back then. So at home, it was always Spanish, which helped us get fluent in Spanish.
Yeah, bilingual.
That's cool.
So they speak English now, or
yeah.
So that's like the opposite of probably both of our parents or grandparents who spoke French when they didn't want us to understand anything.
Yes.
But y'all were speaking English when you didn't want your parents to understand anything.
Yep. I mean, we're never hiding anything. It's just me and my sister just always spoke English.
Yeah.
That's cool. How old's your sister?
2.5 years older.
Okay.
So she's 30, about to be 33. She's 32 right now.
So when y'all moved, she moved to Miami too? Y'all moved?
Yeah, they left her.
Well,
She was 5 years old. They left her.
He said he bought his plane ticket at 3 years old.
My dad was working for an IT company in Venezuela, and it's the same company that works for the Miami-Dade Police Department IT. So it was kind of just like a transfer of jobs but a different country. So he got his work visa, started working IT, Miami-Dade Police Department, and he's still there now. Retires in a couple years.
So where'd you go to school after that? College, huh? After that,
so I went to elementary, and then middle, and then high school.
After you moved to Miami,
don't forget pre-K.
After high school, where'd you go?
But I went to Florida State University
for
chemistry.
Okay.
So I got my chemistry degree at Florida State. Wanted to be a doctor. Number one bucket list in life was always to get my pilot's license at some point, but that was like before you die, I want to get my pilot's license. So after I got
when did that start?
What?
That you wanted to be a pilot? That was before college.
Since I was little.
Okay.
I always thought it'd be cool to fly in a plane or to fly the plane, but I always never thought it'd be within range. And like as a first generation, I wasn't even born here, so I guess it wouldn't be first, but it's you kind of want to do like a degree that your parents are going to be proud of you for. So that's why I was trying to be a doctor, but I also like, possibly being a doctor and a surgeon and all that. I ended up not doing medical school. It's kind of another 4 years of like hard science and all that. I was like, I don't want to do that anymore. And so I started doing pharmaceutical sales. After about 4 months, the company laid off all their reps in the US. So it was like 20, 30 plus reps. So we would go like hospital to hospital, talking to doctors, promoting the pharmacy.
Yeah, you're a drug dealer.
Yeah. Yeah, legal drug dealer. And then, so after that, since we all got laid off, I got a job.
So you only did that for 4 months before everybody got laid off?
4 months out of college,
Wow.
everyone got laid off after that,
Golly.
after the 4 months. So my buddy got me a job in construction as a sales rep. So my mentality was, all right, I'm going to continue this sales experience so then I could go back into either medical device sales or pharmaceutical sales. And then I started realizing how much in the sales industry, the company just really cares on money and how much income's coming in and who's been doing better in this quarter and next quarter and who's going to get presidents, and it's just a rat race. And when I was 27, I decided, I was kind of just thinking like, all right, do I want to be in this rat race for the rest of my life? Do this for another 30, 40 years, going home, being depressed because work's been a hassle and working so hard and in a desk or going office to office. And then I was like, all right, what can I do that will make me happy, like for the rest of my life, at like doing work?
Where are you at this point, geographically?
Are you still living in Miami?
Oh no, here in Lafayette, Louisiana.
Oh, okay.
So
So
you
you
were
did all that
okay.
here, huh? You did all
All
that
that school?
No.
No. Talking about when you were doing the sales stuff. Was
No,
that
all
in
that
Miami?
sales stuff was in South Florida, in Miami.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at that point, you were still living in Miami.
Yep. Until 27, and then
And trying
that's
to figure out what you
that's when
wanna
I
do for a
decided
living.
I wanted to be a pilot. So I moved over here. Well, started doing the whole Navy ASTB, something like that. I think the
Okay.
exam's called. Then met
So-
the girlfriend and then moved here.
So you met her in Miami, and then she's from here?
We went to the same high school together, but she was always, I considered her the smart people in my class.
Okay.
And I wasn't.
Says the
As
guy
you
who
heard,
who was going
I
to
still-
do.
That's right. Got a chemistry degree over
I
here.
mean, I still graduated like top, like summa cum laude or whatever in high school, but
yeah.
never hung out with the smart kids.
Yeah. So what brought you to Lafayette? Because that was kind of a.
Well-
if she lived there and all that.
So in 2021, I went to a wedding where she also went to the same wedding. I was a bridesman.
Yes.
So
Oh.
you don't see that quite often.
No, you don't.
One of the bridesmaid had an emergency, like family emergency, so she had.
Oh, you were a fill-in.
Yep. So we were both brides. I was a bridesman and she was a brideswoman
Yeah.
in the same wedding. So we relinked, and then a month later, from just talking, moved over here.
A month later.
A month later,
Wow. That's
Yep.
that's some trust right there.
and we're still doing good.
That's good. That's good.
That's good.
Now I'm stuck here.
Yes. So why? Because of the friend? Because y'all came to the friend's wedding? That's why y'all ended up moving to Lafayette?
Yep. Well, she already lived here. She was going to UL,
Okay.
getting her metalworking degree with concentration in jewelry design.
Nice.
She work at Stellar?
No, she's getting her gemologist degree through GIA, Gemology Institute of America.
Yeah.
So the plan is in the future, buy her a whole bunch of equipment so she can make jewelry.
Okay.
So we're just waiting for me to get to the airlines. Airlines, hello. But yeah, got all my flight training here at
Yeah.
Owens Flight Training.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Walked in and wanted to wash an airplane. How'd you find? You just Googled or?
Yeah, I just Googled flight schools and I saw that there was Signature and then your flight school.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do like any Part 141 or like ATP. I wanted to go look for like a mom and pop
Yeah.
type of
like
flight
a
school.
real,
Mhm.
yeah. It feels like a real school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that after that first time you walked in, you ended up going to find a job at Best
So
Buy?
I found with a degree in chemistry, I got a job at Subway.
Was it Subway? Oh,
Yeah.
you got Subway.
Subway locally here.
Was
in
that the one
Lafayette.
over here?
The one by BJ's.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But yeah, so worked there for 2 months, and then I was like, all right, I need a job that's going to pay me more than $9 to
Yeah.
be able to pay for flight school. So then I got a job at Best Buy.
Yeah.
Hey, step up.
But like, I didn't care at that point where I worked.
Because there was a goal.
There was a goal. Like, I don't really care where I work as long as I get some money in so I could pay for flight school.
Yeah.
So you did that for what, a year or so? And
Subway for 2 months, Best Buy for for 2 years.
okay. You were working and trying to pay for flight school.
Yep, working and playing for flight school. So as much as I could get from my paycheck, I would fly. So usually, if I would make, like, let's say $1,200 bi-weekly, I'd be able to fly about 3 times in that paycheck.
Yeah.
So you kind of had it all budgeted out.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
You know, just like reduce how much you got to pay in rent, electricity, water, and all that. And then, all right, the rest of the money's going for flight school, maybe 100 or 200 for food, and that's it.
But it took a little while to get you private, didn't it? Just because it was kind of a slow.
Yep. It took me a year and a half to get my private because I was paying it out of pocket as I work.
Yeah.
Then I was able to get a loan.
So you were flying what, like once or twice a week, or
about
initially?
1 to 2 times a week. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's got to feel good though. Like you got to be proud of yourself for like getting through it
Mhm.
and like all your own money, like all of this working hard.
And it's a lot of money it goes through.
Yeah.
Aviation isn't cheap, but it's worth it.
So how long did it take you to get your private?
A year and a half.
Yeah.
So I started in 22. I got it in 23. At December 23 is when I got it.
Okay.
And then all 2024 was getting my instrument, my commercial, my CFI.
Yeah. So then you got the loan after the private, right?
Mhm. Yeah, because I figured 30 years old, got to get moving.
Yeah.
You know, girlfriend's trying to have kids, get married.
Yeah.
So gotta
make some
make the process a little
something
quicker.
other than Subway and Best Buy money.
Yep.
So yeah, you got the loan, and then you were coming pretty much every day, then 5 days a week or so.
Yeah.
Huh?
Even when I wasn't flying, I would come in and study.
Yeah.
And then Ryan was like, "You want to just work?
You're
here all the time anyway. You want to just
here?
That's why I came every day.
So you
I
just gotta
figured
be
it'd be
around it.
beneficial to come every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look like I want to be here, which I do.
Yeah. So yeah, you got your instrument commercial, and then we got CFI, and then you started working here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that was early December.
Then you had your first student that threw up in the plane.
Yeah.
What?
The other day I had my first student.
Recently?
Yep.
It was like the first. I didn't realize they did a discovery flight already, but you had said they.
Yeah, they did it somewhere else. So it was his first lesson here.
Yeah.
And we weren't even doing maneuvers. Or like we went over to his house, did
that's
some
what I was gonna
360s.
Yeah.
360s over his house, so not even that much bank. You know, just looking at his house and started teaching, right, this is how we climb. You know, you go full power, you pitch back for airspeed. So we're not doing anything crazy. And you just kind of see him, you know, do it, like feeling it come out.
He didn't even, like, there was no, he didn't warn you? He just.
It came all of a sudden. So no.
You said he was burping a little bit, but
Yep.
it wasn't really
It's a little burp, but he's,
not a
you know, he's
sign.
like 17-year-old kid. So I figured like, this is probably something a 17-year-old kid does. But now that I'm thinking about it, when you've probably ever wanted to yak,
Yeah.
you probably sometimes burp a few times beforehand, and that's
It could have been
you
accidental.
getting those gases out.
Yeah.
Ryan, you've had that happen to you?
I've had him not throw up as much as this kid did in the plane. Like, we're still trying to get the smell out of the plane. We're still working on that. Weren't you pulling a bag out as he?
Yeah, I was pulling the bag out,
Yeah.
and then
So we had the 6-sacks, and it was in the glove box, and he was getting it out.
Oh,
and
so
then-
you got some collateral damage.
it didn't get on me.
Oh, it didn't? Okay.
No, but he was opening the bag and was going to hand it to the kid, and while he was doing that, it threw up all over.
So then you were just like, oh, never mind. You don't need this anymore.
I just opened up the window, get some air inside.
Did he just eat too much?
He ate right before
McDonald's
French fries.
Oh.
French fries.
So the tip of
I
this
don't know if
week,
McDonald's, but French fries for sure.
Oh, okay, yeah,
tip of this week, don't eat French fries right before you
that's
fly.
right.
And like I usually always tell people to eat beforehand because sometimes you'll feel queasy if you don't.
Yeah.
But
Needs
maybe
to
like
be
an
a
hour
light-
before.
Yeah, and not French fries.
a light meal.
Yeah, a light meal. Just so your stomach has something in your stomach.
Like a Snickers.
Yeah, anything. Just even crackers or anything.
Yeah.
Protein shake.
So I need to go back a little bit. When you came, this is a question for Ryan, but I'm going to start with you. When you came and asked Ryan for a washing job, Ryan, how did you just say, nope, I could see you just being like, no.
No, I think
It was kind of like that.
I thought I said more.
That's
Like, oh, we already got somebody. Like, that's about all I said. Yeah. I thought I said more, but maybe I just said no and he left. Yeah.
Walked out very depressed.
But then came back.
Yeah.
For some reason. So you couldn't have been that mean.
And I probably thought I ain't never seen that guy again, you know.
Ryan immediately regretted the way he answered your question. Oh, no. Oh, poor guy.
That day was funny.
Dragging your feet, walking out this door.
That day was funny as hell.
Well, you brought it up again recently that I kind of forgot about it.
Mm-hmm.
You just keep holding it over his head.
Yeah. Yeah. Remember that time I came in and wanted to wash a plane? You told me no, get the hell out of here.
And then you hired me to make up for it. 2
Secured
years
the
later.
job.
Yeah. 3 years later.
How many hours do you have now?
I'm at 480.
Well, you started probably with what, 250 or
250 is when I started. So I've been averaging right now about 50 hours a month. But it's kind of like the slower part of the year.
Yeah.
And new instructor. So it takes a little bit of time.
It takes a little while. You're here all the time, so that helps pick up new students.
How's instructing?
It's fun. It's enjoyable, especially when your students do what you want them to do.
When they don't throw up on you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind about that. I don't mind the smell.
Oh yeah, you were going to be a doctor, so you're okay with that.
Yeah,
yeah.
But yeah, when they're doing what you want them to do after a few flights, it's like finally, you know. But a lot of times it's like, you're waiting for them to do what you want them to do, what you've told them to do, and it's like, come on, I know you got this, but you have to try to like hold yourself back and not say anything to see how their aeronautical decision making is.
That's got to be hard.
Yeah,
because it's like, okay, now do this. Oh wait, no, shouldn't have said that. Like I'm trying not to. I'll be like,
or just staying quiet. It's like, all right, I've already shown you how to go in the pattern and fly in the pattern and do a force it to land. And it's like, all right, we just passed the numbers. Let's start setting up.
What are you doing?
You end up in Baton Rouge before they start setting up.
Yeah, I had my first student to solo about a month ago. First student to pass their check ride about 2 weeks ago or a week ago.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Congrats, Landon.
What's your plans after you get your hours?
So after I get my hours, looking to go into the airlines. I was kind of doubtful whether to go, be a private pilot for a charter company, or go to the airlines. But in my opinions, wanting to have kids, wanting to have a family, rather something more stable. Because I don't know, maybe I may be wrong, but a charter company can always go bankrupt, and so could an airline. But I feel like airlines are more secure, your job's more secure. But yeah, it's aviation business, so you never know.
Any airline particular, or are you aiming for? Or
nope.
You just
as long as they got a plane,
I can get a job.
If they got a plane and let me fly it,
yeah,
I'm happy.
Let's go.
Yeah.
What's the hardest part about instructing?
Most importantly, I would say looking at the airspeed and the bank angle of the student. Because, for example, if you're coming in about to land and you think they're getting too slow, now you're getting close to your stall speed, but you have to find the medium of, am I going to tell them anything, or I'm going to wait for them to notice they're going slow and to adjust. So it's kind of like finding that balance of like,
how late is too late?
Should I stay quiet, or should I start telling them, or or making sure students also like don't overbank, even if they're overshooting the center line for the runway. That's where like most plane crashes happen.
That's the whole landing. Just the whole traffic pattern and making
just
sure,
landing, making sure
just
they
landing, just making sure they're not going to kill you on landing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have a gust of wind. They're at 30 degrees bank already, so now you're at like 40, 45, and it's like you want to be in there.
Have you had any other? So like you had the throw up story. How many times have you had to grab the controls and be like, okay, never mind?
Besides that time, just on a windy day, when you feel that gust just drop you or increase you in altitude, and we're like, nope, my controls were landing. Which that happened, I think it was like a week and a half ago.
Okay.
It was pretty windy, and we're taking off, and it's probably like 2.0 gust 2.5 or 2.6, which I've flown in it before. You just got to be super cautious and stuff. But then you're you're in the air 30 feet off the ground. All of a sudden you get a wind shear and you're 5 feet off the ground. So it's like, nope, I'm calling this one.
Yeah.
You can't instruct in that, huh?
It'll be rough for the student. It's just
It'll be rough for students, and it's good for them to learn how to fly in in that much wind
I
or
guess depending on
crosswind.
how far they are.
it's like two different things. Like it's going to be stressful for the student where they're going to be overwhelmed because of the turbulence and the wind changing and all that. But then when they get to, it helps them for when the wind is calmer. They know how to control the plane better.
Oh, I guess that
Because-
makes sense.
Yeah. So in the moment, it's a lot for them, but then in the long run, it actually helps them.
Have you ever had a pilot that was too confident? And you were like, no,
That's a yes.
you've had that too? Or was it you?
We've all flown
all.
with that guy.
I feel like that's just as scary as them being underconfident.
Well, overconfident. It's
If-
hard for you to tell them something and for them to be like, okay, I'm going to listen to this person because this person may have more experience. So they're more like, oh,
I got it.
I got it, you know?
Uh,
So it's like, well, don't
Or
think
they
that you're
correct
better.
you.
Yeah.
Or they correct you. Yeah, because
Like if you're a student, listen to the person teaching you, There's a reason why they're ahead of you.
so your parents moved here from Venezuela just like because of work? Is
Mhm.
that why?
Yeah.
They just got transferred?
Yeah.
you
Because
didn't
of work.
fly here at 3 on your own?
No. I was 3 years old.
Okay, gotcha.
No, I came with my dad. Actually, no, my dad came by himself. And then my mom brought my sister and I probably about 4 months after he came because he had to come first, find an apartment, find a car,
Yeah.
get situated in the apartment with work and everything. And then my mom brought us over.
Is that company still? I mean, I guess obviously they're still around because your dad's still
Mhm.
working there. But do they still do work in Venezuela? Or are they?
I got no idea.
Oh,
Well, the other reason they kind of left Venezuela is because the situation in Venezuela,
Mhm.
like you can't really work and just pay for food. Like 1 month's rent, 1 month's pay might be a chicken breast, or you might go to the grocery
chicken
store.
breast?
add chicken breast.
Yeah, you might go to the grocery store and they only got
Oh.
napkins and ketchup. So like, I need rice, I need
That's
chicken,
crazy.
I
Yeah.
need potatoes,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Looks like
I was
you're
like,
eating a
'cause-
napkin and
You always hear things about like half people's paycheck they send back to like Venezuela and places like
Well,
that.
we were doing that. So my grandma passed away about 5 years ago, but 1 year before she passed, no, a couple years before she passed away, we were sending her boxes every month of simple things: coffee, soap, shampoo, rice, beans, because you can't find them over
Yeah.
there. Coffee, everything you can think about. And then depending on your last name, for example, mine ends with an S. For example, I get to only go grocery shopping on a Tuesday. And you go to that grocery store and it's a mile of a line to then go inside and there's nothing there.
Yeah.
And whatever you needed, someone who was first already stocked up by a whole bunch of
Everything,
stuff.
yeah.
So now they're selling that same product outside for even more expensive.
Oh no.
So imagine like you're looking for diapers. They had diapers, but not anymore because someone bought them out in the front of the line. Now they're selling it for even more expensive
Twice the
outside.
price, yeah.
gosh.
But yeah.
So why on Tuesday? So like, or whatever day? Like
Well,
why?
I'm
That's the question.
So-
well, I was thinking like, why are you just going on a Tuesday?
I'm pretty
Like,
sure Venezuela started doing that a few years ago.
it's like rationing. Like they.
It's more about the control of people.
Oh, That's what it
just
sounds
like,
like.
Cuba is. Like Cuba's the same way. You have
Yeah.
a little card that says you're only allowed to go grocery shopping on this day, and you can't go any other day.
That's crazy.
and then you go that day and there's nothing there.
Yep.
What's next? We usually end on what's next, but we talked about airlines.
I know. We talked about airlines.
What do you need to get to that level? What-
Level of what?
Airlines.
1,500 hours.
There we go. Okay. So it's like you couldn't do that right now. You have to work up to 1,500 hours.
Yep. So you can be like a CFI, like an instructor. You can do like parachute jumper, like pilot,
Oh,
banner
Oh.
flying.
that's cool.
But around here, I would say being an instructor is probably the quickest way
Yeah.
to get there. If I would have lived in Miami, banner flying's like all over the
Oh
place.
yeah, that's
Oh, I
right.
didn't
Along the
think about
beach and
that.
stuff.
Yep, plane after plane, you see banner after
Yeah.
banner after banner.
We
Come
need to start
this
doing that
club.
over the swamps.
It's good. Some alligators to come over.
Banner, yeah. So you need 1,500 hours. Are you?
How much multi time do you need for
20
the? What do they?
25 hours.
Yeah.
25 hours?
Mhm.
That's not a lot.
It's not a lot, but it's expensive.
Oh, okay. I guess that makes sense. So you're gonna leave us as soon as you hit that 1500.
Probably.
If somebody wants it, that's a yes.
I think that's a yes from anyone as an instructor. You know,
if that's what
unless
they're going
they want to
for.
be an instructor for like the rest of their life.
Depends on the airlines and if they're hiring and that kind of deal. So, they've got their ups and downs.
And students typically rather stay with whatever instructor they're with.
That makes sense.
Just to not be switching up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's nerve-wracking flying with someone else that you haven't flown before for like the first time. Like I remember the first time I flew with you for right before my solo. Actually, I think for like the mock check ride.
Was it the mock check ride?
Yeah, because for my solo I did it with Emily.
Oh, okay. I just sit there. I'm just a passenger.
To me, at that time, you seemed a lot more stern. Like, what are you doing? Where are you going? But it's like probably one of those where it's like where you trying to like just see when the student's gonna make that decision. Yeah. And it was probably like, all right, I was expecting you to make that decision a while ago. What are you doing? Where are you going?
Pretty much, yes.
And now that you're in it, you can see where he was coming from.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah, my mind moves a lot faster than students sometimes. So
I would hope.
I expect them to be doing something right now, and they wait a little bit longer. You know. So
always doing something.
Yes, and my mind's like, you should have been doing that and so I'm fighting myself in my head, like, okay, don't say anything, see what they do.
All right, let's say you tower transfer you over to departure, and you're on your way to Opelousas. So you already have departure, you're already talking to departure, and the next frequencies you're going to put in is for Opelousas. So it's like, all right, we already transferred a approach, and we already talked to them. Let's start listening to the weather. Let's see what runway we're going to use. Let's put in those frequencies. And sometimes they fly 5-10 miles and they're still just flying the plane, haven't put the frequency in, haven't seen the weather.
Just having a grand old time.
Oh, maybe I should listen to the weather. Yeah, you should have done that like 10 miles ago.
So that's usually how it goes.
Yeah.
So you usually immediately say it because it's already... I gotcha.
Yeah.
Yep. How do you say it to where it doesn't sound sarcastic? Yeah, we probably should have done that 20 minutes ago.
No, I mean, quite literally, sometimes you just have to say things just straight up. Like, hey, I probably would have done that a while ago. Yeah. So they see how your mind thinks as a pilot,
Yeah.
That's how a lot of people learn,
It sounded way nicer than the way Ryan said it.
Well, sometimes it's where you have a student who is good. And so when I say it like that, because like I know you could be better than this.
Yeah, why didn't you do this earlier?
Yeah, why didn't you do this? You should have done this a long time ago. So I have higher expectations for the student.
As opposed for with your newer students, you'd be like, I probably would have done that 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Because it gives you more time to blah, blah,
yeah.
blah.
I would explain it. But if I've already done
weeks
all
later,
that,
you'd be like, I've told you 12 times.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep. Sometimes you have to be stern.
Yeah.
And that's like one of the things, like with Landon, after he passed his check ride, I had asked him, because like I like to know, or like feedback of how I'm doing as an instructor, what I could do better. So I had told him, like, hey, is there anything I can do better as an instructor? Am I, too soft on you? Am I too hard on you? And he was like, yeah, you're a little hard. And I was like, all right, well, yeah, I'm glad that you told me that, because that lets me know. Mm-hmm. But to me, that's a positive, because I have high standards for you. You got to be ahead of the airplane. You got to think quick, and then it takes some time to build that. But I need you to be at that standard, and I don't want you to be anything below that.
Yeah. I used to tell people, like, I'd be more lenient throughout the training, but then when we're getting ready for check ride, when we get ready for check ride, I tell them, look, I'm gonna probably be on you a lot because we're getting ready for a check ride, and I expect you to be at the standards, whatever's listed in the book. So, I'm gonna be on you about everything. So just to give them a warning, like,
if I'm mean, it's on purpose.
Yes.
Yep. Like, I'm not babying you no more.
Yeah.
You're now about to be a private pilot. You should be able to do all this by yourself accurately
without me saying a dang thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you keep them at that standard, now they're a better pilot.
Yeah. So even like for mock check rides, I have expectation of people already. Like, okay, well, if they're flying
after like their last flight together.
Yeah. So like when I flew with him and he was getting ready for his check ride, when he's flying with me, I'm assumed that his instructor already has gotten him, he's good enough to go to a check ride.
And you don't have to say a word.
Yeah, and I don't have to say a word. But when somebody's less than that standards, then that's when I become really mean.
Why are we flying right now? I can imagine it is frustrating for you too, because like, why are you flying right now?
Why are you wasting my time right now? You're not ready.
Not in a mean way, but literally, like,
yeah,
we shouldn't have had this flight.
Yeah,
yeah.
And also, like, I stay quiet because that's more like what Peyton does, and as the examiner is going to be, you know, he's going to be more quiet and not help you. So that's what I'm trying to do before they go to their check ride.
Hence the mock check ride.
Yes.
And for those going for your mock check ride, make sure you are ready for that mock check ride 2 weeks before. And the reason I'm saying it, because there's a lot of students. Yeah, there's a lot of well, for when I was doing mine, I want to be check ride ready 2 weeks prior from the check ride. So then now that 2 weeks before the check ride, now it's just, you know, touching little details.
Yeah.
But there's some students where it's like they're about to have the check ride. It's in less than a week. And there's a lot of stuff they still don't know or still aren't doing, where it's like, you got to be ready, not almost at your check ride, but a few weeks before.
Mm-hmm. Well, some people they don't have a self-awareness of where they're at sometimes.
Where they're at or the time remaining till the check ride.
Yeah.
So like, for example, if I already did my written and I've studied, I'm going to book my check ride. So now I have a set date. So now I know I have 3 weeks prior to that check ride date, 3 weeks of practice. So then I got to do all my flights, do all my grounds.
Oh, I could be good by then.
Yeah. But then I guess a lot of students, they book their check ride, let's say a month in advance, and they let a week or two pass, and then they start flying again or doing grounds. Well, it's like, now you missed 2 weeks, and now you only have a week and a half before your check ride. And like, we can't cram all this stuff down, because like I could teach you all this stuff, but you have to go home, study it, watch videos, talk about it again, you know?
Yeah.
Study.
Yeah, because you have to know it to another level. Like, you can't just, it's not memorization.
You have to know it.
You have to know it. You have to know it at a deeper level to where you can answer correlation level.
There it is. There's the word.
Yeah, that's it.
Ding, ding, ding.
Ding.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah. On to the airlines.
I think that's it.
I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my history.
Yep.
And your future.
And my future.
Yes.
Flight Tales, woo-woo.
If you've made it this far, you've listened to the entire episode. And for that, we would just like to say thank you, and we hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions about today's episode or suggestions for future episodes, just leave a comment or message us, and we'll do our best to answer. If you'd like to check out some fun aviation videos, check out our YouTube channel at Owens Flight Training. Or if you'd like to get more information on becoming a safe, knowledgeable, and confident pilot, just head over to our website, owensflighttraining.com.